Now, I was down at the Piers Morgan thing in New York, but also in Houston, in Katy a few weeks ago. They're covering it when he was down there. And I saw Ted Nugent drive through, waved at him. He rolled down the window and said, "I'll kick their butt for you," and drove in to the building where I'd been earlier. There at the Tactical Firearms. And a fella called in saying he was Ted Nugent, who's been on the show probably 10 times in the last 15 years or so. In fact, I've been trying to get him on lately. Somebody called in saying they're Ted Nugent. And I said, okay, ask him, because I don't have time. I couldn't talk to him just now and run out there and find out who they are and make sure it's Ted. I said, ask him what he drove into the Piers Morgan thing in Houston in. And he said, my Pilot's cruddy gray SUV. So it's either Ted Nugent or it's somebody that was there and knew. So I'm very excited to get Uncle Ted on with us. If it's Uncle Ted, I'll recognize his voice. Is that Uncle Ted?
Alex, greetings from the self-evident truth army that supports everything you do, man.
It's
you. That was definitely me in that cruddy SUV. And I'm just calling to let you know that those of us who dance on the skull of Piers Morgan ought to communicate more often, because you did God's work, man, and I'm calling in to say thank you.
Oh, no, I want to thank you. Hey, I know you're a busy guy, but when can I get you on the show?
We need to do it soon. I'm really, really busy these days. I just happened to have a wonderful dinner with my daughter in Houston. I got in my truck on my way back home to Waco, and I heard you coming on the air with the new telephone number, so I dialed it. I figured I'd just jump in and say hello.
Well, listen, can you do maybe 10 minutes with us while you're driving?
Yeah, I think as long as I got a signal, I'd be more than happy to, because what you're celebrating and what you're sharing with the radio listeners out there is indisputable. It's irrefutable, and I got to thank you, because it's so late in coming that those of us with the balls and the inside view of the criminality of this government right now, the unprecedented abuse of power and corruption and fraud and deceit by the Chicago gangster scammer Acorn in chief. It's so diabolical that I just wanted to say thank you from the trenches.
No, please don't thank me, sir. We want to get your take on this, and we're going to break. We're going to come back, start the next hour, maybe do 10, 15 minutes with you until your phone fades. Get Ted Nugent while you can here, because it's Wango Tango. It's a free-for-all. Got a rock and roll band. One of my favorite rock stars and one of my favorite patriots, Ted Nugent, calling in. We're going to break here in about a minute, sir. But what do you make of the NRA getting this memo that the Department of Justice didn't want out, that they want to physically take the guns? Couldn't this be their Waterloo if we use it?
Well, you know, I would like to think so if logic ruled the day and Americans were more engaged. But I think the apathy is still the #1 curse in America, Alex. I don't think there's enough of us engaged. I would like to think that the most participatory, we the people, experimenters in self-government are indeed the Second Amendment community. But we still only represent maybe, 4, 5, 6% of the actual gun lovers and the gun owners and the freedom lovers of this country. So I would hope that this kind of danger sign, but if we haven't demanded accountability for Benghazi or Fast and Furious and all the other criminal acts by this regime, then I'm afraid I don't have hope that this will be a motivator itself.
No, you're right. That's what tyrants do. They get you used to putting up with their crap, and then pretty soon you're in Nazi Germany. Second hour coming up. I know you're staying tuned. It's Ted Nugent, straight ahead for the next 10, 15 minutes, then your calls. We're going to get Ted Nugent back on the show, and he said definitely he'll come in studio soon. Regardless, we'll continue taking your phone calls here, but we were able to get his number before it dropped off, so we'll see if we can get Ted Nugent back on with us. But how cool is that, getting Ted Nugent to call into the show? Let's go to Doug in North Dakota. Doug, you follow Ted Nugent. Go ahead.
What an honor. Yeah, you know, this has been a conundrum, listening to Ted Nugent and looking at the cross talk, that I was unfortunately under the impression that Ted would never align himself and cross over and take that final contact. You know, this is a watershed moment, sir, and I say that with all due respect to you, because, you know, as a over-the-road truck driver, 55 years old, then thought I was awake, thought I knew what was going on. You know, it wasn't until February of 2007 before I even knew who Alex Jones was.
Well, enough about old Alex Jones. My point is they're coming after our guns now, and we were able to get Ted Nugent back on. Did you guys get him? Okay, let's put this caller on hold. I'll come back to him. We're going to break in a moment, but we do have Ted. Let's go ahead and punch Mr. Nugent back up. I've driven around in the middle of Texas many times where he's at, out there by Waco, and it's either great cell phone or no cell phone. And Ted, as soon as you get good cell, I promise if you just pull over for 10 minutes, I just want to get your take on all this news and the veterans getting letters saying that they may have their guns basically taken in mass, even if they're just physically disabled. Ted, are you there?
Yeah, I got you, Alex. Yeah, that's a very important point, man. I hope you got a good signal on
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Clearly?
Yes, sir.
Well, what you're doing is you're as important, as critical, as pivotal as the Second Amendment is for genuine freedom. The reason the First Amendment exists is because we, the people, and the media are supposed to always be asking questions and spotlighting cockroaches and hold the government accountable, because so much of the media today has absolutely abandoned their duty under the First Amendment to ask those kinds of questions on behalf of the citizenry. What you're doing and what a lot of us are doing out there in the media now is we're picking up the slack. So, yeah, this is a reality. They are coming after our guns. Dianne Feinstein has said on film, I would disarm America if I could. The Attorney General violating his oath to the Constitution, running illegal guns to Mexican drug gangs, is on film, stating he needs to brainwash Americans about guns. This isn't an Alex Jones or a Ted Nugent thing. The documentation, the evidence is inescapable if you're paying attention.
And exactly, and you and I aren't in comas. That's why we're angry. Paul Revere was riding around saying, get your guns and start shooting people, and he wasn't called radical. I'm not calling for that. You're not calling for that. But again, people can't criticize us for getting angry. That's what founded this country, is getting a damn pulse.
And I mean, who doesn't know? I was going to ask the rhetorical question, who doesn't know why the Founding Fathers put the Second Amendment there? But horror of horror, Alex, like I was talking in our first conversation a moment ago, the curse, the embarrassment of apathy. There's an enormous swath of Americans that have no idea what the Constitution says, what the Bill of Rights says. That's why people are able to get away with the scam that the Second Amendment has to be interpreted. You've got to be kidding me. Who needs the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed interpreted? That's an indication of the sheeping, the de-souling, the sheeping of America, and it's absolutely embarrassing.
Incredible. Ted, I'm giving you the floor. We're going to break for 60 seconds. We're coming right back to you, and I want you to cover Fast and Furious, the veterans getting the letters, where you think this fight is going. Should we move to impeach Obama? Ted Nugent for one segment on the road, deep in the heart of Texas, from the heart of the resistance. ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your ProPure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-31.